Today I'm going to go over a supplemental car kit for the summer. This is a piece that you add to your regular kit, your regular car kit that you should have, all your emergency supplies that you should have, first aid and all that you should have in your car. This is just a piece you add. I have one for summer and I also have one for winter. This will be the summer one. My name is Wayne and I'm the Normal Prepping. The first thing I want to recommend is, and you'll notice here, I have ideas and probably items that you may not have thought about. And the first item is one of those. And I think it's extremely important and something that we don't even think about. We always go out of our way to think of other things in prepping. And that is a membership with AAA. If you're broke down somewhere, it is so easy just to call them, get them there. Then you don't have to worry about doing any repairs, adding gas. If you run out of fuel, they'll bring you that. And to add to that, if you are stuck out in the middle of nowhere and your cell phone doesn't work, the next item that I think is extremely important and one I use a lot is satellite communicator. This is the Garmin InReach. I use this backpacking all the time. With this, I'm able to communicate to anybody. I can text anybody on my contacts and let them know where I'm at. I do that when I backpack. I communicate with my wife all the time. She knows where I'm at. It also has a map on it when it's turned on. And it also has an emergency SOS button that you can push if things get really bad. That'll get you in touch with some people and they'll be able to get emergency services to you. I have a link for this in the description. And with that link, I also have a link to the Garmin site, which will give you all the information as far as the plans. Because when you purchase one of these, you're not just getting the unit, you have to pay for a monthly plan. But I carry this backpacking and also in my vehicle when I travel. The next item that is another one this one's very obvious. I almost didn't mention it because it kind of fits with our normal, kit, but it's water. And I didn't bring a whole bunch of water. I just did this so I would remember to mention it and to kind of give an example. Just bring a few, gallons of water, keep those in your trunk, because you need these. You need water. In the heat, you can die really quick. I mean, it can get to you. I actually had heat stroke once in my life, and once you've had a heat stroke, you understand. You need to keep yourself cool and you need to drink water. So make sure you have nice, good, fresh water, gallons of it if you can, in your vehicle at all times in the summer. To go with that, I also recommend some kind of electrolytes, because you'll be sweating in the summer and you don't want to drink. If you drink too much water and you sweat it out, it can be very dangerous. So you need to have the electrolytes to keep you going. So there are multiple brands. I have this one. You just add these come in packets. You just put a packet in like a liter and you can drink the water and then you'll have your electrolytes. Very, very important. Electrolytes, and so many people go for like the Gatorade candy stuff, sugary. No, stay away from that. There's been so many studies. You can do your own research on it, but I just stick to some good old electrolytes. And to go along with that, and here's another one. I'll bet you none of you have even thought of this. And that is, it's something new. I'm reading this new book. It's called Quench. It's pretty cool. But they talk about chia seeds. Put some chia seeds in your kit. And what you do with the chia seeds, it's crazy. Because if you've ever eaten anything with them, made chia pudding or whatever, they absorb water. And how they work is if you add some chia seeds to your water, what they do is they're like a time release capsule for water. Because one thing that you have to worry about, and it happens to me backpacking, I know it very well. I will load up or camel up on water before I go backpacking. Well, in about 300 yards, what am I doing? I'm getting rid of the water. I'm peeing it out because I drank it too fast and too much. What this does is it absorbs the water and then it slowly releases it into your system throughout the day. And they've done studies, these studies on these anthropologists have done studies of people in the desert, and they're able to run marathons. And how they do it is by supplementing their water with the chia seed. Highly recommend it. And I bet you it'd be the only prepper on the block that has chia seeds in their kit. Okay, now I'm going to go over something here that you probably have already thought about, but I just want to do a reminder. And that's Prestone, or whatever brand you want. Antifreeze, you know, in case you break down and overheat, which is very common in the summer. Just make sure that you get the ready to use kind that you don't have to mix with water. See, it says here, do not add water, pre-diluted 50-50. This is what you want. Just keep this in the back of your vehicle in case you overheat and need to add the antifreeze. And while I'm talking about this, I also want to remind you that we have a video that we did of an emergency kit that we made up for the vehicle, and I'll put a link for that right here. And we also, in that video, we actually made a kit that you can buy from us too. So it's kind of neat. It's a good video. I recommend checking it out. So, Prestone. So then another thing that we have to deal with is the heat. And they have these really neat, I got the, on the Amazon. Now I like this one. It's a fan. It's a small fan, and you can have multiple fans. I got the kind that hooks up to a power bank, because I have many of these with me when I travel. And this thing is pretty neat. See, and this one has multiple settings. And see it, I don't know, I mean, it actually has some pretty good breeze to it. Push it 20 times. I mean, that feels nice. And just if you're in the car or outside the car, just having this can make all the difference. And this item I hadn't thought about. One of our followers from Australia suggested adding one of these. They do that in Australia. So since then, I decided this summer I'm going to throw this in now too. So this is something new I'm just adding, and I think it's a great idea. And I like the one I was looking at. They have quite a few to choose from, but I like this one because it has a clip. So you can stick it somewhere. You can stick it on a visor, or if you're outside, or if you have something else you can hook it to. So I think this is a pretty neat, and it's a really good idea. And it's one of those, I mean, you hear that? She has a lot of power, a lot of power. And you don't want to use up all your battery banks, but as long as you have enough of them. I mean, I carry a bunch of these, and I also have links to these in the description. So then to go with that, when you're in the car, everybody has the window shades, right? Well, I find that it's better to, I'm not going to open this up because I want to keep it to put in my vehicle. You can get a roll of this stuff. And it's nice because you can do multiple things with it. Not only, I mean, you can use it just to put on windows, but you can also cut it into smaller pieces that you need, or if you need to insulate water bottles or anything like that, just get a couple rolls of this, keep them in there. You can also cover your body with them, and it'll help reflect the light to keep you cooler. So, and they just roll up. And you can make a nice little blanket, just, it could get you warm too, but just away from you, and it reflects the heat, the light, and these work great. And I have these, of course, on Amazon. And just get a couple of these. And they're kind of nice the way they're all bundled up. Once you open them up, though, you're kind of committed because they kind of blow up. But you can cut them up and cut them the size you want. Okay, so on with that. Also, because you're not going to, in the middle of the desert in the heat, you're not going to want to be sitting in your car, obviously. You want to be outside, and that's one thing you can use that for. One thing that I use them backpacking. I have a larger version of this that I use backpacking. This one I found on Amazon. I like it. And it's a sun umbrella. And see what it does is it reflects the light. It has a vent in it too. This one's kind of neat. It's not my color, but It's what they had. So and it has vents for if there's any wind to blow out. And this one's kind of neat because I like this one because of the switchblade action. I think that's kind of cool. That's actually the reason I bought this one. But but yeah, it's pretty neat. And then you just keep these in your car, and you're good to go. And I wouldn't just have one. I'd have multiple. They're not that large. Yeah. See, so definitely, think about getting a few of these. I was pretty happy with it. There are bigger ones, better ones, but I like the size. Look at the size. I mean, you can stick that anywhere, put in a bag or whatever, for your supplemental bag. If you want to make a bag that's just made for summer, that's the way to go, and this will fit in there just nicely. Okay, since you'll be outside, another thing you may have to deal with is the sun. So what I have here is just a small bottle of sunblock. So make sure you have sunblock, because even if you're under the umbrella or whatever, you still have to worry about, and I'm not exactly a dark skinned kind of guy, so I have to make sure that I have this on so I don't get burnt. Because the last thing you want to do is if you're stuck somewhere for a day or two, this could take you down. If you get a bad sunburn, I mean, just think about it. You get a bad sunburn, going to the beach and then going back to your condo, you feel like, oh, I feel terrible, I can't sleep. Can you imagine being out stranded and sunburnt? I mean, that'll dehydrate you. It'll bring you down. And the last thing you want to do is get dehydrated when you're out there. So this is what you need. I like this one because it's smaller and it doesn't take a whole lot, and it has a little carabiner on it. We preppers, we love our carabiners. Okay, so if you were foolish and didn't quite put that on in time, the next item I have is burn relief gel. This is, I like the aloe vera stuff, and this stuff, I really like it. So you just put that on if you got burnt, or even if you're getting dry, if you're out in the heat. And one thing you got to pay attention to, you got to know about, sunstroke. And if you start not to the point where you're not sweating, you better take care of yourself, because that means you're getting sunstroke. But if your skin's starting to dry up and stuff from the wind or whatever, if you're outside, there you go. Get some of that. And then, if you're out there not stuck in the desert, but out in the middle of, the woods or whatever, I highly recommend some really good bug spray. I know everybody has their own ideas on bug spray. I'm one of those DEET kind of guys, because I hate mosquitoes. So I get the 100% DEET. I found that, and I don't like to get the aerosol for the vehicle, just because, well, my background's hazmat, and it's not good. It makes what's called a Bellevue, and they blow up. I prefer to get, one of these pumps. And I also take the pump, and because DEET destroys pretty much anything that's made out of plastic, it'll wreck it. So I keep it inside of a little Ziploc bag, and I got this one. It's Ben's 10 hours of protection. You don't need a whole lot, but if you're out there and just think about it. If you're out there and you're in the heat and the hot, and you got mosquitoes everywhere, the last thing you want to do is get in your car and get, just die in there. So you want to be able to go outside, find some shade, and mosquitoes love the shade. So definitely recommend the DEET. So that's all I have today. I know you guys have some add-ons. You guys are great now, and if you can give me some, it will help myself and all of our viewers, so we can build a really good kit this summer, so we'll all be safe. I'd really appreciate getting some comments from you, some great ideas. I'm really looking forward to the ideas on this, because I hardly see anything on summer kits or any kind of kits, for that add-on kits for the car. So leave your comments. If you're new here, welcome. If you're one of the old viewers, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.